Let me start by saying thank you for helping us with this phase of the curriculum construction process. Your judgments are very, very important. You can't understand at this point how important they are. It's necessary that we glean judgments from people within the community, judgments whose opinions are held in high regard. We'll use this information to establish priorities. See, our problem, as it is with every school district, is we do not have enough resources to teach every child everything. So we have to decide what, in the eyes of stakeholders, are the most important things to teach. So your values, your needs, your interests are all very important to us and will help us to meet the needs of the children and students in the school district. As you can see from this web page, we're going to ask you initially to complete 2 questionnaires. One is in regards to lifelong activities. The second is in regard to what we call general program objectives. When you've done that, we will compile those results into a new instrument. We will share with you the results of everyone's opinions and everyone's ratings from the first instrument, ask you to consider that, and then complete a second round. That second round will occur from 7 to 14 days after the first round. Now, first of all, you have 2 documents. The first is a rating of potential lifelong activities. Let me explain what we mean by that. There are 3 reasons or purposes for including activities in your curriculum. One is as a means of teaching important content. An example of that would be tumbling. Tumbling can be used at the elementary level to teach balance, to teach coordination, to develop the vestibular apparatus so that people don't get car sick, for example, when they get older. It can be used for flexibility and building of strength. In that regard, it's not a lifelong activity, but it's an activity used to teach important content. A second purpose is obviously for students to enjoy activity. But we have to understand, an example of that might be floor hockey. Floor hockey probably is not a great lifelong activity because few middle-aged men and women join floor hockey leagues across America. However, it is a fun activity and it's one that they would enjoy, which is an important aspect. We're focusing on the third purpose, and that is as a lifelong activity. We'd like you to look at these list of activities with this in mind. Every graduate from a quality program ought to leave with an arsenal of physical activities they can have in their hip pocket to use recreationally to maintain their health and fitness over their lifetime. That's what we want to focus on. So as you look at these lifelong activities, we want you to think not as a tool to get strong or as a tool to have fun as a 10th grader, but as a tool to use once you leave school for the rest of your life to maintain a high level of health and physical activity. Along with the lifelong activity document, the rating form, there are 2 other documents. One is the same instrument in hard copy. You may find it helpful to upload that and use it as a worksheet so that you've got all of the choices in front of you as you make your choices or before you fill out the form. The second one is a description of the lifelong activities. There may be activities on that list that you don't entirely understand or you may interpret wrongly. For example, swimming as a lifelong activity is not necessarily just teaching a student to swim, that is, to be drown-proofed, but it is to be able to use swimming as a way of keeping healthy and fit as you age. A little different perspective there. So the descriptions provide insight in terms of what do we mean by some of those kinds of activities. In the same regard, the general objectives is a second instrument, another set of objectives that need to be thought through. Once again, we're going to ask you to select your highest choices for those. Once again, you have the option of downloading a hard copy so that you can peruse the items and think them through before you fill them out. Some people would prefer doing that on paper rather than on a website. Once again, we have a glossary of those terms that may not be understood, globally so that you can say, well, what is meant by vaulting? You can read what is meant as an outcome and help you decide whether it is one of your top choices. The instructions are available as you click on the site. When you're done, you submit your answers, and then we'll compile everything and contact you to complete the second instrument. This isn't easy, but it's really important. And trust me, if your judgment were not important, you would not have been invited to participate in this. We need your advice. We need your voice heard to represent your perspective. Thank you for doing this.